So hello everyone. Now I am going to show a project called Book Your Movie, which I did using Python. So as you can see, this is our main folder that has all the scripts written in it. And if we open it, we have a main.py script which is written in Python, and modules. In modules, we have all different scripts written in it. So I used all the scripts in the main.py folder, and then I used them to run this project called Book Your Movie. This basically mimics the app Book My Show. So let us first run it and see what it can all do, and let me then explain how I actually did it. So let me first copy the address here, and let me go and open Anaconda prompt. Anaconda prompt is basically where I execute Python files, and let me increase the size for you guys. And first I'm gonna change directory. Okay, now we are in the directory. So now I am gonna run the main.py file. So this is what we get. So it says welcome to bookyourmovie.com, and we need to enter the number of rows and columns, which I will explain when I am explaining the code itself. So if we let's say our theater has 9 rows and eight eight columns, so we get to select from these options. The first one is show the seats. If we select one, it shows a layout of the theater. These numbers are for our reference. This is the number of columns, and this is the rows. So the second one is buy a ticket. So let's see what happens if we press buy a ticket. We need to select the row and column where we need to buy a ticket. Let's say we want a seat here. This is let's say we want it here. This is sixth row and seventh column. And by the way, this the screen of the theater is here, and this theater has a different costing criteria. Like few of the seats have ticket price of $8, and a few of them have ticket price of $10, depending on their distance from the screen. So I will explain the rules when I am explaining the code. So let us book a ticket here, that is sixth row and seventh column. The row number is 6 and the column number is 7. So yeah, it says that ticket price is $8, and yes, I need to proceed. Let me enter my details here when it asks. My age is 25 and my gender is male, and my phone number is let me enter a random number. Yeah, it says that my ticket is booked successfully. How do I confirm that my ticket is booked successfully? Let me show the seats for you guys. So this has changed to B, which means that that seat is booked. If I again try to uh, book that same seat again, let me try to book that same seat again for some other guy. I will enter sixth row and seventh column. Yeah, it shows that those seats are occupied. Let me buy another seat, probably which costs $10. So row number is let's say row number is 3 and column number is let's say 5. Yeah, here the ticket price is $10. Yes, and I want to proceed. Let's say he's my friend of mine. His name is Ram. He's an imaginary friend of mine, and he's a male. Ouch. And here some phone number. His ticket is booked successfully too. Let us view his seats. Yeah, see, third row and fifth column is occupied, which is what we gave, and this is my seat which is booked. And let us see what all can we do further. Yeah, we have statistics. Let us see what statistics does. Statistics, it gave me the following details. Total number of purchased tickets is 2, which is true. It's me and Molu and Ram. percentage is 2.77%. This is the percentage of occupied seats, and current income is $18. That is $10 for Ram's ticket and $8 for my ticket. Total income is $640. That is the income that the theater owner gets if all the seats are occupied. Yeah, so yeah, we can also view the user book tickets user info by clicking number 4. Let us see. Yeah, so the first user is Molu, his male, is 25, his number and his seat number. Second user is Ram and male, 25, phone number and seat number. Yeah, so these are all the things that we can do using this code, and we can then we can proceed to book more number of seats, or we can exit. So I am exiting it, and it says thank you, and boom, we are done with this project. So let me actually go and show you how I coded them. So I'm gonna open this, and let me first uh, let me first show you what I did in these scripts, and then I will go and show you what I did in the main.py file. Let me start with seeds. Let me enlarge the screen for you. Okay, so import numpy as np is I am importing numpy for using it. So this function, what theater does is it takes number of rows and columns as input, and it gives us a matrix of r rows and c columns, which we are gonna print as the theater. So yeah, so m is an empty theater, empty list basically here. It is actually a two-dimensional list, which the thing we are going to get is a two-dimensional list, which is also called as a matrix. So for I in range, it is r. So this is to loop for r number of times. This is to loop for column number of times. So temp is another empty list here. So what happens is temp is an empty list, and this is column number of this is the column number given here. So this loop runs for c number of times, and each time it runs, it appends a string s to this temp list. So after this loop is completed, uh, this temp list is appended to this m list, and then this one runs again. So likewise, all the rows gets filled with the string called s. That's how we get an empty theater, and in the end we return an array, basically numpy.array m. So that's what the theater does, and the show sheets is basically printing the layout. So firstly we print layout /n, which this thing just shows that we are viewing the layout. R comma c is equal to np.shape m. We are getting the values of r comma c. Here np.m gives a tuple of the shape of this array m. So for j in range c plus 1, print j comma end is equal space. So what this does is this creates a number. This what Basically what this end statement is. So generally print statements by default take /n as their end statement. So as soon as we run the print statement, they enter a new line. But here I am giving the end statement as space, so it won't enter a new line, it just stays in the same line. So for j in the range c plus 1, so I am running this loop for c plus 1 times. uh, so it just prints j. So this what this thing is for is like, as I showed you, the theater layout, there are numbers in the beginning, right? In the first line, 0 1 2, see column number of times. This is doing that business, and this is for entering new line, and this is actually printing this is actually for printing the rest of the theater. For I in range r, print I plus 1. This I plus 1 is for printing the numbers on the left side of the theater. For you guys, let me show you the thing first. Okay, let me change directory. Python space. Okay, 9, and you can give random numbers here. Let me show the sheets for you. Yeah. So I was talking about these numbers before. Okay, let me minimize it. And then yeah, this what this star does is I am actually printing m of I. So m is a list of lists, so m of I is a list. So what I am printing is a list. Actually this m of I is a list, but this what this star does is this will not print the square brackets that we actually get when we print a list. This star removes those square brackets and print it without square brackets and commas. So that's how we got all these. Each one of it is a list, but without commas and square brackets. But this is actually a list. Okay, and yeah, print your screen is here, which we can see there, and this is just to indicate that this thing is ended. So the next thing is let me show you buy a ticket. Yeah, buy a ticket actually here looks we just have one function here, but when I was actually creating it was a lot. It had more number of ends, but then I simplified it to a lot, and finally this came here. So it just has a function called book tickets, which takes m basically in the entire code is our theater. R is the number of columns, and no, R is the row number where we want to book a ticket, and C is the column number where we want to book a ticket. So m of r minus 1 into c minus 1 is equal to b. This is because uh, indexing starts from 0, so we need to go one reduce the number by 1. So m of r minus 1 and c minus 1 is equal to b. So this changes generally, usually if not booked, this m of r minus 1 and to c minus 1 value will be b, it will be s. But when we run this function, it gets changed to b, and it prints ticket booked successfully, and it also prints that this is just for our convenience. This just prints these lines indicating that this the work is done, and then it returns a new theater array where the specified RC location is booked. That is, the S is converted into B. And so let me show you the stats thing. So what does stats do? Stats has here three functions. The first one is ticket price. So let me tell you the rules of ticket pricing. If the total number of seats in the theater is less than 60, the ticket price is $10 all over the theater. If the total number of seats is greater than 60, then the seats that are nearer to the half of the theater, that is nearer to the screen, will have a ticket price of $8, and that is half of the theater that is farther from the screen will have a ticket price of $10, which is what I quoted here. If rows and columns are basically are uh, the total number of rows and total number of columns of the theater. If multiplied, the value is less than 60, the ticket TP here is the ticket price. The ticket price is $10. Else, if R is less than rows by 2, R is the row number. R is basically the place, the row where we are searching for the ticket price. If R is less than rows by 2, that is, if R is farther away, R less than rows by 2. Let me show you here. So here 9 is the number of rows. If R is less, 9 by 2 is basically 4.5 here. So if R is somewhere here in these four rows, the ticket price is $10. Otherwise, the ticket price is $8. So that is what it shows here. If R is less than rows by 2, the ticket price is $10. Otherwise, the ticket price is $8, and this returns the ticket price. the total income of M here is, it calculates, given a theater, it calculates the total the income it generates if all the seats are booked. So here R comma C, as discussed earlier, R comma C NP dot shape gives the shape of the two-dimensional array as a tuple. R comma C takes those values. If R into C is less, okay, this is again calculating the total income. If R into C is less than or equal to 60, if total number of seats is less than 60, then the ticket price is $10. So total number of seats into $10 gives us total income. If if total number of seats is greater than 60, then we have two criteria. One has a ticket price of $10 and other has a ticket price of $8. So r slash slash 2 gives us the integer value of r by 2, that into 10, that into c into 10 gives us the half of the, gives us the income of the theater which has a ticket price of $10, and this r minus r by 2 gives the remaining rest of the rows, that into c into 8 gives the total income of rest of the theater, and both added gives us the total income, and this is what it does. And the show stats, so this is the function that we call when we run the function show stats. So keeping these things aside, let me show you okay, let me, so okay, show stats takes an array, theater array, and see what it does. B is I'm defining an empty array here, and then r comma c again takes the shape of this theater. For I in range r, for j in range c, I am looping it twice. So if I am checking each and every location of the two-dimensional array if it is booked or not. So if it is B, if M of I of j is B, I am gonna append, I am gonna add the row number which is I here to this array B. Why only row number is important? Because that is how I am gonna decide the total price. I am gonna decide the row number plays a key role in determining the ticket price. So I just need the row number. So b is equal in b is equal to np dot append of p comma I is just a syntax for appending using numpy. If we are using a normal array, we can just write b dot append I. But I am using numpy arrays for convenience because they are more they are good to use. So this is the syntax: b is equal to np dot append of p comma I. Again, so here what we have is B contains the list of the row numbers where the where the seats are booked. Okay, again, P is an empty unpaired array for I in B. So for each row where the tickets are booked, uh, you gives the ticket price of that particular row. Okay, so ticket price is the ticket price as we defined earlier. We are using this function here. So ticket price takes the number of rows, number of columns which are defined here, and I is in B. So I generally gives the place where gives the row number of the ticket that is booked. So u gives us the ticket price, and then again I am appending that u to this empty list P, and this is the syntax. So what I get in P is the list of ticket prices of all the booked tickets. Now I am gonna print the statistics. Number of purchased tickets is given the given by the length of B. So since B takes all the all the booked ticket values, so the length of B gives us the number of purchased tickets, and the np dot shape of B uh, gives us since B is a one-dimensional array, it gives us a tuple which has the shape, the length of the array in the first value in the zeroth index, and none in the second index. So I am using zeroth index here. Percentage is calculated as usual. So number of booked tickets by total number of, this gives the number of booked tickets, and this gives the total number of tickets available in the theater into 100. So current income is np dot sum of p, sum of yeah, since p has all p has the ticket rates of all the seats that are booked, we can simply sum over that list and we get the current income. Total income, we have defined a function there, and that's it. And then I'm gonna go to details. Yeah, in details, this is to print our this is to print the this script is defined to print the user info details. So here I am actually defining a class called audience. So audience, what do they have? They have a name, gender, age, phone number, and seat number. And print details just prints everything, prints name as a name, gender as gender, age, phone number, seat number, and this is just to say that the thing is ended in the output. So let me now go to main.py and tell you what happens in this entire code. So from modules import star. Okay, before that let me show you one thing. This init file has a list called a all are, which has seats, buyer tickets, stats, and details. Basically these are just the name of the scripts that I have defined. Seats here, buy a ticket here, stats here, and details here. So what this all does is it imports all the scripts that are given inside this list. So I am literally importing all these lists in this init file. And yeah, we need init files when we are using uh, uh, when we are importing files into other files. So yeah, basically init files are not required for those who use Python 3 plus. I am using Python 3 plus, but I just use it for the name, for the sake of using. So from modules import star. Here modules is not a predefined library. Modules is the library that I define here. Here this is the by modules I meant this. Import star actually imports everything. So it imported all these init seats, buy ticket, stats, and details. So first of all, it prints welcome to bookyourmovie.com, which we have seen, and rows takes the total number of desired total number of rows in the desired theater, and columns take the total number of columns in the desired theater. And this is a function called show option, which which displays these options. Show the sheets, buy tickets, statistics, show book tickets, user info, and exit. And it returns the value that we have entered. The input is given here, n is equal to input, and it returns the input that we have we gave to that function. So then I just run this function. So n value, this is when it shows the show options for the first time. And then here m, by calling m, I am actually initializing a theater. So m is equal to seats. Seats is this seats that I just defined. Seats that theater is a function I wrote inside seats. It takes rows, columns, or it takes the number of rows and number of columns and gives us a two-dimensional array with this number of rows and this number of columns. I use it int here because input here gives us a string value. We need integer value, so I use it int here. And then this q is equal to 0. I will explain why I defined it when necessary. For now, just leave it. Customer is actually a list. Why I have defined it is to store the customer details that people enter. So right for now it is an empty list in the beginning. So while n is not equal to 0, so what is n? N is the show options, the thing that we get the show option throws us. So what does show options throw us? Throw at us. it throws the input that we have given, the integer value of the input that we have given. So when n is not equal to 0, so what is 0? 0 is exit. So as long as we don't press exit, this entire thing keeps on running. uh, so q is again 0. So for now just let's just forget about q is equal to 0. If n is equal to 1, what is 1? And 1 is show the seeds. Okay, then seeds dot show seeds. I have already explained you what this function does, show seeds. So it just prints the theater. If n is equal to 2, the second thing is buy a ticket. So it as soon as we hit the buy a ticket thing, it takes the row number and the column number. Okay, for now let's just this part of code, let's just forget about it. I will explain it later. And then ticket price, it gives us the ticket price. Ticket price is in the stats file. So stats dot ticket price, number of rows, number of columns, and the row number. So we get the ticket price. And then it asks the user, your ticket price is some so and so dollars, so do you wish to proceed, which is what given here, INP. If yes, press Y to proceed, and N to return to main menu. If our input is Y, then it proceeds to book a ticket. So it asks all these information from the user. And then I is I is equal to details dot audience of name, gender, age, phone, and R comma C. So I is basically I am by calling I am calling the class audience that is defined in the script details. So I is equal to details dot audience. So I basically belongs to the class audience. Then I am appending this I to this list called customers. So customers is an empty list that I defined here. It was empty before, and but where is this? Yeah, but when we go to purchase a ticket, when a ticket is purchased successfully, it appends that class value gets appended to this list customers. And then I am calling this function. Buy a ticket is the script that I wrote here, and book a ticket is a function in that buy a ticket. So this actually changes the S to B. And if input is no, so if here input is no, just passes. So it passes here, and n is not equal to 3 and not equal to 4, and nothing. So it again prints show options. If else, so if user prints anything other than this, so what it does is it tells the user that please enter a valid response, and it automatically returns to main menu. So so all of this will be bypassed, and it again shows these show options. And if n is equal to 3, so statistics, it shows stats dot show stats. This function I have explained already. And similarly, if n is equal to 4, which is book tickets user info. For customers is the list that we have defined. So all the user information is stored as a class item in the list customer. So customer is a list that contains class variables, class objects, all the class objects, audience. Okay, so for I in customer, so I is a class object here, and customer is a list of class object. So for I in customers, I dot so class object has the function print details. Let me show you here, print details. So that is being used here, I dot print details. So it prints all the data. So if the user enters anything other than the given options from 1 2 3 4 or 0, it shows please select from the given options only, and again it runs show options. So again, when we come out of the loop, it shows thank you. And now let me explain what this part of code does. So if the customer if the customer enters a value that is already being occupied, so what it does is, for j in customers, so it searches for the class object in customers whose j dot c value is equal to r comma c. R comma c here is the value that are being entered by the audience to book the seat. So if j dot c is equal to r comma c, then print sorry those seats are valid, and print this thing is just to show that the statement is ended. And again it shows the options, and q is equal to 1. Why is q is equal to 1? If let's say here I define the value, I change here I define q as 0. Here it is again defined as q is equal to 0, and here I changed it to q is equal to 1. So if q is equal to 1, continues. So what continue statement does is it leaves the rest of the code, and it again starts from here, from the beginning of the loop. So why does I have to include this q is equal to 1? Because if continue statement is placed here, so the continue statement is in the loop, this loop, so it basically gets out of this loop only if continue statement is being written here. So we need continue statement in the while loop. So we need a condition for it to enter the while loop. So I have defined a variable called q is equal to 0. So whenever the code enters this loop, the value of q changes to 1, and if q if the value of q changes to 1, it means that the code entered this loop. So that means that r comma c are being already occupied. So it says continue, and when it says continue, it again start from the loop. Since the value of q should be 0, I am again saying that q is equal to 0. So that's it. That is about my project, book your movie. I hope you enjoyed this code.